It was the first English exam of the semester. English, being one of my most hated subjects, meant that the test was almost meaningless to me, and I was far more concerned with getting out and going to get my lunch from my locker. Around halfway through the exam, I heard a gasp erupt from the teacher. In the seconds that passed, she paused the timer and told us all to get under our tables. It was a little strange, especially considering we had never had a lockdown drill before, making it seem more real. But my friends reassured me that it was nothing more than a drill. As we waited, all I kept hearing was my stomach growling at me from hunger. I couldn't stop thinking about my lunch, and I really didn't think it would do any harm if I went and grabbed it from my locker and just came straight back. The second the teacher turned her back around, I crawled straight over to the door, which was fortunately still wide open, and then hurried outside. Once I was a few feet away, I stood up and started to jog, trying my best to ensure that my footsteps stayed as quiet as possible to avoid being caught. I remember hearing the distant slam of a door come from behind me, but I was far too busy trying to find my locker, which was made all the more difficult when the light suddenly turned off, forcing me to feel my way along all of the lockers, waiting until I recognized the shape of my own. After a few more minutes of searching, I finally felt the shape of my lock hanging down from my locker. As I felt around for the handle, a sudden distant boom of footsteps started to clatter from somewhere in the school, almost making me fall over as I jumped from shock. I swiveled around, and now that my eyes had somewhat adjusted to the darkness, I squinted and scanned the room, trying to find out where this noise was coming from. As I looked, I accidentally let out a cough, feeling a dryness rising in my throat, probably due to the stress of everything. But to my horror, it alarmed whatever was responsible for those footsteps I had heard earlier, because all of a sudden, a deranged-looking man came running from around the corner. I was petrified. I now knew that this was not a drill, and that there was a man who most likely was here to kill somebody. Luckily, the darkness meant that he had not yet seen me, and allowing my adrenaline to take control, I took the opportunity and made a frantic dash for the stairwell, knowing I could hide under it and wait until the police arrived. The moment my feet left the floor as I began to sprint, they were instantly followed by the blood-piercing sound of a scream coming from the lunatic. I then heard heavy footsteps stomping behind me like somebody was chasing me. Feeling my heart beat faster than I could breathe, I just about managed to turn the corner, allowing me to throw my body underneath the stairs, only to then try and contain myself from breathing too loudly. What must have just been 3 seconds later, he emerged from around the corner, only to continue on up the stairs, firing a few gunshots off in frustration, leaving only the residue of dirty footprints and what looked like several plastic bags lined with white stuff with a smell of gunpowder drifting through the air. I waited there, shivering in terror, for around an hour before the police finally arrived. To my surprise, I later found out that nobody had been hurt. Apparently the man was very high on multiple drugs when he decided to enter the school and try and shoot multiple children. We don't know why he did this, but he was arrested, and I doubt he will ever see the outside world again.